Hello and welcome to another devlog of the runes of Aereal. Um, so again, quite a lot of things done here and some quite breaking changes in that way that you'll see that I've got some extra stuff implemented. So I've gone to the main menu here. And one thing I'll do is I'll restart the battle. And you'll see here I have this new difficulty level layout. So what I've done is I've paid someone on Fiverr to review my game. Just a 1 hour review. It doesn't cost that much to do that on Fiverr. I can advise that to anyone. And he said, okay, it's hard to see what difficulty level you have chosen and stuff like that. So I made it a bit more easy to do. So what I've done here is I've chosen to make 3 cards, and actually those cards, the content of those cards, that's pretty interesting, is generated. So nowadays you can go to the Bing search engine, and the Bing search engine has a DALL-E integration. DALL-E generates images for you, so you can just ask generate a dark forest with a green tint, and generate a dark forest with a brown tint, and generate a dark forest with a red tint, and you get these cards, and then you can pimp them a little bit in the GIMP. Let me just go and reduce the music volume a bit so you can hear me. So you can just pimp that a little bit, put some easy, medium, and hard strings in it, and that's it. So I can now choose something, and the rest becomes a little bit less highlighted. And I go to choose your character. And here you see what I changed next. Here on top, let me just let them talk. Okay, well, here on top you'll have this new Achilles, its new photograph, and every hero has its own photograph, and you can see that here it's a bit more easy to see which extra 3 cards you have and which is the artifact you get. So that's what we get. So let me show you some other photographs here. So here I have also changed something. Being in this traits, you will still have those 14 traits here, but this precognition is a new one, and it used to be teleportation, but I've removed teleportation because I was still realizing that it was going to be pretty hard to implement. So I've added precognition, and you'll see the precognition here, the ability to see the next events on the map. So deliberately I will choose Achilles because he has precognition as a trait. So I'll start the journey. Here we have it. And then you'll see that there is this question mark here on this map point. It means that it is something of a choice you will have. I will just move on. And then you see again 2 question marks. I will just move on. And then you see here, for example, this is a battle. And you'll see that if we go in here, I have the option to fight. So this is precognition. Only with precognition activated, you'll see these icons on the map that you will be able to choose from. So I've also done some tweaking on the hero stats. Let me just go out of this interface. Also done some tweaking on the hero stat, because on the hero stats, of course, you'll see that here and there was some misalignment on what the text said what the hero could do and actually what the hero could do. So that was a little bit of a misalignment. All right. So another big thing, I've changed it. I'll show you through the sandbox. Here in the sandbox, let me go to like Iron Glove. I don't care. It doesn't really matter which one. And I'll go to a battle. here we are. You'll see that this HUD interface has also changed a little bit. Also based on some advice that the guy gave me. It was pretty decent advice, really. So here you see that this hero image went from here below the health, went to the left here, and you'll see in a minute why. Here we have these enemies, and so if I hover over these things here, you'll see that it highlights, and every enemy has its own depiction. So here you have the imp, and here you have this spider images. So also when you hover over these things here, normally there should be a hint: the enemy is fragile, your attacks do double damage. So let me now go in here and, for example, deal damage to this one, and he dies, and then this becomes grayed out. So this is a nice addition to the HUD. Of course, if I add other states to this enemy, these icons will expand. For example, if this hero becomes on fire, then it will have a fire icon here as well. If it becomes poisoned, it will have a poisoned icon. So let me end my turn. And then you see I also have these icons here on top. So to my hero, we have this fire icon. Your hero is on fire. You will take damage at the end of your turn. And then this, you are poisoned. At the end of your turn, you will receive damage equal to the number of poison. So this is 1 at this time. So there's also a nice addition here, and makes a little bit more nicer, I think. Though there is a bit of a discrepancy now in art style, I think personally, between what's on the HUD here and this button here and this button here. I don't think there's too much of a difference with the art style with the cards, but towards the other parts of the HUD, I do think so. So maybe in future versions, I'll change the HUD a bit to much more with this interface, because personally I think this interface looks a little bit nicer. It has a much more professional look to it. So but that's for future versions, basically. So technically, in the background, I've also changed some stuff, not too much. One of the things I did, for example, is add custom actions. For enemies, I've added custom actions, and also did some refactoring for map points. Map points also have custom actions right now. So custom actions act just like normal functions, because before it was set petrification and extinguish fire and stuff like that. Those were functions taking as a parameter the enemy, which fire we were extinguishing or we were starting. Right now it's just and for the enemies family, it's just an extra action here. So it basically works the same way, but to me it's a bit more nicer. Technically, it's more nicer to have an action there instead of a function where we always have to pass the enemy or the map point or whatever. So that's a little bit of refactoring which I did there. And also I've added an extra thing here in the configuration where I added the cooldown parameters here. The cooldown, the minimum cooldown, and the maximum and the range of the cooldown. We can tweak that here in the configuration. So depending on what I configure it, it will go longer or less long in the configuration of the cooldown. So that's pretty much it, I think, for this week. Some nice changes, I think. Next week I'll go and more refine the interface a little bit more, I think. So stay tuned and see you next week. Bye bye.